Okay. I've been watching a lot of what I consider trash TV of financial shows. And it's not just one show, it's a few shows. And they have a lot in common. They're giving people financial advice and they're also calling them stupid. And I know it's like weird for me to like that. Maybe it's not weird for me to like it, but it doesn't see, I wouldn't guess that I would like that. It seems a little aggressive for where I am right now in life. An aggressive way to give advice, to learn about financial decisions. But I don't know. I really, really enjoy them. Let's start with one who calls himself Caleb Springer. He calls himself Caleb. His name is Caleb Hammer, but he takes Jerry Springer, and he knows he's trash TV, and he calls himself Caleb Springer, and it's cute. He's being cute and everything. He's been around for like 3 years, and he has like 3 million followers now. I think I started when he was at either almost a million or a million. I can't really remember. And how long ago could it be? He's only been around 3 years, but he's young for me, like young compared to me. He's 20 years younger than me. He's 31. And he doesn't have financial background. He doesn't have a degree in it. He actually dropped out of college. He was going for music. The way he got into it was, and this is what, like, he shares some parts of his life. And a lot of times he uses it. He's like, did you get foreclosure notices, growing up as a kid? So he saw foreclosure notices, growing up, and that put him in a very, tense state. So he understands the pressure that the kids end up feeling about it. It's not just like the parent in a bubble. So he relates to that. And he also had, was accumulating either massive debt or had massive debt, and was making stupid purchases on credit cards. Anyway, this is a lot of people's backgrounds because they're not always in finance on these shows. It's more like, oh, I realized finance is important in these ways and I should give the information. And the way Caleb Hammer does it is he hammers on his guests. He sits across from them like podcast style, and it is a podcast, but he's a YouTuber. And he looks at the last 1 month of their finances. So they send everything in to his producers and he goes in cold. He used to review it before, but now he comes in, so he's getting it while we get it, which I do think is very, very funny because his reactions are some of my favorites. So the thing is he reacts to everything. And the way I understand it is, and this is like from what he says, and if I'm getting it wrong, I'm sorry, Caleb. He's from Michigan, and it seems he has never seen anything before in his life. Now, it sounds like an excuse. Maybe it is. I don't know. He does, in the time that I've listened to him, he has grown as a person as he's met new and different people. And he'll say, I've never met one of you. He'll probably say it like that. And he goes for the lowest hanging fruit. And all he knows of people is stereotypes. And this sounds like a trash person. And what I like about him is he admits it. I know that you don't just get to say whatever you want, just because you admit it. But on his show, he does. I wouldn't watch it if you clutch your pearls easily. And by the way, that's not the funny part, because the jokes are not funny. They're not funny. It's like, I mean, especially in 2026, I mean, he's telling like 1980s jokes best. Like if maybe you were 12 or something, new to comedy, you're doing that. It's the most stereotypical nothing jokes. It's like, hey, here's the most ignorant thing I can say. So is it jokes? It's ridiculous. And there's consent and all of that stuff. And what's funny is that, his response and his crash outs, his faces, his yelling, his high pitched tone that he reaches, to him losing his breath and just like, we're actually watching his head explode. And while he crashes out, his guest will laugh and he'll be like, you think it's funny? You think it's funny that you can't pay for your kids' I don't know, daycare or food or whatever. You think this is funny? That's for me funny, because what I'm seeing is these are fans of his show. They're watching him do the thing that they've been watching through their screen, finding it amusing. Oh, he's doing the thing. Oh my God. Even though he's going through their finances, they are now experiencing the Caleb Hammer that's been like in their living room or, on their way to work or whatever. They're now watching it in person, and they turn into fans, and as if they're like, in the middle of watching a show. And he crashes extra on that because I don't think he realizes what's so funny. I love it. That's when I laugh. He's a drama queen, and just in that he likes the tea, and that's for his after show. And, but this is process, right? So you'll sit there, people will introduce themselves. Sometimes they'll add the word "the" in. It's a financial audit is the name of the show, and they'll go, and this is the financial audit. And a lot of times he'll say the, and they don't know why he's saying the. And it begins, even though, again, his guests now, for the most part, if not all of it, they come from his audience, and they still don't know why he's doing the things that he doesn't know why. They don't know why he's saying the when they say the financial audit. Okay, I am being very long-winded about this man's show. I do watch it a lot. Anyway, so they're in person. They sit in front of each other, the guest and Caleb. He's got a financial stack of information, like I said, the last month only. And meanwhile, the producers are feeding him the behind-the-scenes stuff because they're the ones who took all this information in. We go through these people's lives. And then he reads, I'm being told that you told her to shut up the last time that she, and they'll start things. The producers are just feeding him what they've tell him. And he'll say it. Not only will he say, I'm being told this, he'll also give the producer's name, which I'm like, what did Lindsay do? Lindsay's telling me, no, Lindsay's subtly picking, again, they watch the show. They know it's Lindsay, or I forget. Lindsay, for some reason, stands out a lot for me. I'm bad with names otherwise, but it's one of the names. But if you call them out personally, I don't know. I feel like it. All right. Anyway, Caleb goes in blind. He looks at you last month. He asks you to rate yourself. What do you think between 1 to 10, your finances? How much money came in, meaning how much money did you make? And this already throws people off. And I so relate. I used to work freelance, and actually I always worked freelance. And I've never, until recently, and these shows help, I haven't been good at looking at my money so much that I would always know what comes in. And that's very, very bad, it turns out. So he asks them how much come in. Sometimes they're off by thousands. Then he asks them how much money goes out, and they're off by even more. And again, I am relating to all of this stuff. That's not where I am right now, but I believe I went through all of the things that a lot of his guests went through. So maybe if somebody audited me, I might need to be just as embarrassed as they are. So he asks how much went out, how much did you spend, how much left your account, whether to pay bills or anything. And they're off by, they'll bring $7,000 in, and out goes $21,000 in 1 month. And it blows your mind because you start thinking like, how can I spend $20,000 in a month? And when you start looking at he looks item by item. And when it starts being things like Labubu and Pokemon and things behind their partner's back, sometimes it's couples, and it's right in there, and you're about to go on the show, and you kind of can see a little infidelity in there sometimes because he'll just be yelling what they're doing. Oh, why do you have an OF account all of a sudden? Yeah. And Then there's the cliches. If somebody says, I pay my bills, I know I pay my bills, that usually means that they have a late and missed payment amongst the group. If they say I'm trying, he goes, where's your trying? I'm looking at it, and you went to Starbucks 5 days just for 5 days in a row. And I get that also. I used to think Starbucks, that's my sweet treat. And then I'm saying the terminology, sweet treat. And I know that that is regular terminology now. Maybe it always was, but I can hear myself sounding like a little bit, no, it's my sweet treat. That's not a thing when you don't have an emergency fund. Again, it turns out it's not just him. And I know it's stuff that we've heard, but I didn't think, for some reason, even hearing the numbers, and I guess when I say, why don't they know that they're going on this show? Wow, I'm going through a lot and it's too fast in my head. Hold on, let me slow down. When I say, how come the guests of Caleb Hammer don't know that they're on that show and that this is coming? I guess in the same way that I heard before, hey, if you have Starbucks or coffee at all every day, you are ruining your retirement in these compoundable ways. I've heard those words. I heard them in the same sentence, and I didn't fully grasp it. And maybe it's the same non-grasping that everyone else is doing. So making food takes too long is a lot of people's thing, and he'll go like, oh, it takes me too long. And he'll tell them to shut up. But also one time, this person was like, yeah, it takes too long to make a sandwich. He got up, went to the kitchen with this guest and a camera person, made a sandwich, and said, here. And he asked him to time him or something. Anyway, it took 15 seconds. It's stupid things like that make it feel not silly to pack a sandwich and do things like that. So maybe I need for him to call a guest stupid, but it's like sort of ahead of time calling me dumb, like, hey, don't do this dumb thing. Like, this does affect people, And I'm being entertained as somebody is kind of faking crashing out. He also calls people's family, tells them to cut them off. Okay, then another show that I watch is Bradley on a Budget, but this guy, it's more for shorts. He does like 2-3 minute shorts, and I'm there for the whole thing. He does a lot of editing. He says things like saving money is treating yourself. And again, it's like the dumbest, simplest thing that you could say, but it sticks. It stuck from him. I don't know. And so he'll do things like, he'll say things like, make all of your food. Make all of your food. Do not go out to eat. Like almost under any circumstances. He even takes food on vacation with him. And he makes the same food every morning. Every breakfast, it's eggs, and he adds water because water is free. So instead of milk or anything, he doesn't buy butter, but sometimes you'll see that he adds butter to his pan. Why? Because not him, but his parents got takeout or went out to eat. And he says, hey, save those little things. So he gets the ketchup packets from them, and he gets those little butters. I think he takes them from his friends also. And so when that's around, he has the luxury of adding butter to his pan. Then he has a tortilla. That's his breakfast. And hash brown. And his tip is, those hash browns? It's actually a good tip. They're like the kind of that like McDonald's has. So I've bought them from like Trader Joe's, from Costco. And from McDonald's. They're so good at McDonald's. Anyway, so he says, put it in the toaster and it'll crisp up. That's his little hack there. I passed it on to you. And then he also makes the saddest chicken every day. I think it's for lunch and dinner because he saves I think he does it for dinner and then saves it for lunch, and when I say sad chicken, I don't even think he buys seasonings. I think just salt, because that costs money and will up the price. So he'll eat something like chicken and a potato or something like that. He does not eat any vegetables, doesn't rarely eats fruit. He's very particular, but it's every single day. And he went to culinary school. That put him in a lot of debt. And then coming out of that, he was just super upset and couldn't make better. I think he was in debt 6 figures. Anyway, but even though he makes 6 figures now, he does not leave. He has a 9-to-5 job. He stays there for like things like insurance and snacks in the conference room. He never buys napkins. I mean, he's making 6 figures now. He never buys napkins still. So he'll collect the napkins from stores or whatever experiences, bars where he goes and gets water. He unplugs everything before he leaves. And when he goes on vacation, he unplugs his fridge. He will give his little, like, he doesn't have that much food, but he'll give whatever few eggs he has and, sad chicken to his parents to save for him so that when he comes back from vacation, and he'll go on these wonderful frugal vacations. Again, I am not shitting on this person. This is his experience. He's so grateful for everything that he has. But anyway, he never turns on the heat or AC. His shoes have holes in them. He takes cans out of the garbage. He works multiple side hustles. He's got his main job, his content creation job, which he now makes really good money off of. He has an OF account, go-go dancer, crisis hotline, dog sitter, cleans homes, collects recyclable. Now, he doesn't do everything all the time. He does go to the 9-to-5. That's 5 days. Content creation happens all the time. OF makes him a lot of money. And then every once in a while, he'll pick up a shift at the hotline, the dog sitting. So he will fill in his schedule working every single day. Now, I think this is too much. You have holes in your shoes. I know other people have told you that. And, in fact, Bradley got into a fight with Caleb. Now I'm Springer. Bradley got into a fight with Caleb. Actually, Caleb picked a fight. Caleb reviews popular people and trends and gives his opinion. I have nothing against any of this. I'm doing that right now. And he'll say, he's usually very upset with the people he's looking at. And with Bradley, he couldn't. It's too much. But Caleb, I think, went to, first of all, Bradley was crying. But Bradley, you and I, we cry pretty easily. But he was Caleb, as mean as he is, he went, I think, too far. He went into Bradley's OF account. It sounded also like, meaning he got membership and he went into the content. He started talking about the content of Bradley's OF account. And he was really mean about it, about just in general. And also, I think he paid for the extra membership and then showed with blurriness some of that content. I think that's kind of unfair. That kind of went too far. And he was talking about the way he looks and how Caleb doesn't like the way Bradley looks. And it was in a very mean-spirited way. I think he went so far that, and I'm not sure about this, but it seemed like Caleb's lawyers made him apologize. I'm not sure about all the details of all that fight, but I just saw two people that I recognized from the financial trash situation. Although, Bradley, I know that you're not trash. He's very, very sweet. He runs a lot into people that listen to his shows, and he calls them budget baddies. He puts them in the video. So shout out to the budget baddies. Okay, then there's this Canadian show with Gail Vaz-Oxlade. And I know her name because she introduced it. Hi, I'm Gail Vaz-Oxlade. First thing I like to do is put my purse down and have a look around. It's like the same thing. This is a reality show where she actually comes to these people's house. It's called Till Debt Do Us Part. And they are messing up their finances, getting into fights. They have kids sometimes. And she looks into 6 months of their spending, then makes them look at the average and also tells them how much do you think you spent and tells them that they're way off, calls them stupid, and then tells them ways that they could do better. She gives them jars with actual budgeted money. She asks them to write things down, and she puts them is because it's on, TV, and it's a reality show. She puts them through challenges for 4 weeks. So she has taken everything away that challenges like now you live without any of the furniture that you do not own outright. So if you owe money on it, I'm taking it. So suddenly they're not living with their couch, maybe their TVs. And here's the thing. I always thought a couch is a necessity. A lot of these people, well, all of them are talking about needs versus wants. And when I first moved to Philadelphia, I did not have a couch and I was pretty embarrassed and I didn't want to spend the money, especially at the time. And I still don't, on getting a couch. And I thought it was more important to make sure that I was more set up financially before I spend money on a couch, which meant there's sitting at the table and not lounging, not doing that movie watching in that way with my partner. You kind of miss out on homey type moments. So I thought maybe it was a necessity. It actually gave me relief that all of these people are like, so what? You got to wait to buy a couch. This is actually not 100% a necessity. There are other things that actually do need to happen, like a roof on your head. Anyway, but Gail will tell people that they don't make enough money, and one of their challenges is to boost their finances, or sell your car, or do inventory on all of your tools or your clothes when she sees that they spend so much. And here's the thing: you don't think that you lost so much track. And this, I'm talking for all of us, for them that I'm watching, that I relate to. You don't think that you have multiple of the same tool, of the same thing, when that's totally your thing to go out and do every time. But you not keeping track of it, me not keeping track of it, means guaranteed you have multiples. You went too far on it. You don't use some of it. All this stuff, even just taking inventory of it is a lesson. You don't even have to do anything about it, but I think you're going to want to. So what else? Oh, she also makes them do sort of those corporate bonding experiences. You have to come up this weird trail, but you're blindfolded. You have to listen to your partner. Your partner has to learn how to communicate. Or couples yoga, because you need a little bit of that touch and the gentleness. And even though this is a Canadian show, she's a badass. She's not just saying sorry, she says things. I think she says things like, I think she should leave your ass, to one of the partners, or you don't respect him, or, oh my God, she said to someone, tell me that you're a dickwad. She actually said dickwad. Again, I haven't heard that since I was a kid. She said, say, my name is this and I'm a dickwad. And he said it. Oh my God. Anyway, yeah, it's not highbrow. I'm telling you, it's the trash TV. The last one is a little more gentle, not a soap opera-y. And it's Susie Orman, which she's more old school. She's been around way longer than these people. She's actually in finance. She does interviews, gives advice, but she does this segment called Ask Susie. And I think the name of the game for me was to know what she's going to say, meaning I now have a grip on the information that she's giving, because I can tell when she's going to approve or deny. And let me tell you something, I can never call that show. I will never be approved for anything based on her criteria. And I am not saying that she's wrong. I'm saying I'm wrong and I need to get my shit together. But oh my goodness, the retirement fund, the 9 months, I think she likes, of emergency fund, if you're doing everything right, boy, she'll let you have whatever you want. A cruise around the world, literally a stupid car that she disagrees with buying a car for that amount. But if you can afford it, you can afford it. So I enjoyed learning her criteria and understanding how much I need to step up. And yeah, so that segment, she goes, what do you want to buy? In her sweet thing, she calls everybody boyfriend and girlfriend, which I know with the new knowledge and understanding of the non-binary assignments and everything like that. But here's the thing. This is an old show. So she's actually pretty progressive. She's also focuses a lot, not on this show, but I think she's a podcast more focusing on female and money, because she actually comes from a time, I mean, it wasn't until the 1970 something that women can have their own credit card without their husband or someone co-signing for them. So that, in terms of like my mom, and this is her generation, when your husband dies, you are completely lost about your bills. My mother didn't understand. She has to learn finances now. She has to learn where the bills are. I mean, they had assigned roles. And so Susie sort of like, she has a focus on like women, you need to know the stuff too. And, men and women and non-binary and everybody has to know all the information. It has to be a group effort. And, yeah, she's just, I don't know. She's actually really cool. Look her up. And I think all her information is more financially sound than just yelling at people. Although she'll tell you straight up that you're dumb. Yeah, I guess like all of them. Yeah, she just is a little more. She's got a little more tact, maybe. So anyway, they're all saying the same thing. Don't spend any more than you make. Know what you make. Have a budget. That's also knowing what you make. Don't spend anything unless you don't have debt and have an emergency fund. But for me, it's, again, I've heard those words before. I've heard the terminology. It's sticking now because, I'm trying to pick it up more in a funny way or in a silly way, because I'm exercising frugality, like the most I've ever done, ever. And I think it could feel sad or excluded, tiring. I have to say no a lot because I'm only doing the necessity right now. And it could be exhausting. So this makes it a little less exhausting, like the couch idea. The fact that I don't need to get it, that it's not a necessity, that it's sort of, they're co-signing that, no, this isn't crazy. You have to sometimes tighten up more than you knew, more than you're comfortable with, and then it becomes a little more comfortable. We're cooking every meal. We're cleaning all the time, that kitchen, the dishes. But if I turn it into a game, things like, guess how much this meal would cost if we were down the block or, up the street or whatever. We just saved this amount of money because we did this ourselves. We'll go for a bike ride because it's free. We'll go to whatever is available, like maybe outdoors and stuff. And life is also good that way. And I want to remember that when it's time to loosen the belt a little bit, that to keep it tighter, to still watch, Susie Orman never buys coffee. She says something like, I think I've heard her say, she sees people holding that coffee and it's just, she thinks it's a sucker's game. She makes her own coffee and she is super rich and she's not hiding that. I don't think she can. She looks like money, but she doesn't. So I don't know that I'll ever do that regular coffee thing again. I think it would have to be, because I learned to make really good coffee here. And so right now my favorite coffee is the one at home. But I hope that when I start spending more like that, I more want a coffee experience than the actual coffee. I think that's the point. And I want to maybe experience a coffee shop and time and maybe a view or a different country, so when I'm spending my money on a food or a drink, it's because there's this experience behind it and because I can afford it. So how do you spend your money? Are you frugal? Is it easy for you to be frugal? Do you play it like a game? Yeah, let me know and pass this along. Thanks.